similarities between the two.
Wow.
What was your kind of your thought process to begin with? I'll tell you mine. So initially, you obviously got your top six who are kind of head and shoulders above the rest. I kind of made them my spine of the side. I thought the spine's always important, so I picked from the best. So that's why I've got United goalkeeper, a Liverpool centre back, a Arsenal right back, a Man City central midfielder, a Tottenham striker, and then Chelsea attacking midfielder. That's kind of my spine of the side, and then filled the rest of the positions with the next best things. So standout players such as Ndidi and Zaha, and then my bench was left to
whoever was left.
Is that pretty similar? Pretty similar how you approached it?
Yeah, it was a bit. I mean, I've gone. I did very similar. Yeah, so I mean, just goalkeeper. I started with goalkeeper, and there was no one else I could pick other than David De Gea, so that was quite easy. I mean, I felt like I had to pick Mohamed Salah up front because how could you not pick him? I know Van Dijk's been good at the back, but for a player of the season for Liverpool, it's got to be Mo Salah. Why do I keep saying that? Mo Salah.
Mo Salah.
Salah. Yeah. Harry Kane, obviously, you pick him up there as well. Kevin De Bruyne speaks for itself. I went for N'Golo Kante in midfield because my team's far too attacking as it is, really. So I needed someone in there to do some defensive work.
And that one man is enough to hold the fort. So yeah, he'll do the job. Exactly.
I've already spoken about Pascal Gross to doing, but yeah, the subs are just literally made up of. Well, I'll be brutally honest with you. I changed one of my subs as you were talking because you put a goalkeeper on the bench and I'd completely forgotten. So.
Oh, you go in 7. That is how attacking your bench was.
Yeah,
you're going to have Harry Kane drop back into goal like he did against the Europa League.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, on a last-minute change, Xherdan Shaqiri got the boot and Jack Butland came in from Stoke. So he won't be too happy about that. But yeah, it's
if there's one player who couldn't go and goal, it'd be Xherdan Shaqiri. That man is he's not filling the goal, is he?
No, he is small. Although he's very wide. Have you ever noticed that about him?
He is. He looks like you're looking at him in the wrong aspect ratio. It's kind of. He's an old-looking football, really is. I mean, it makes for a very kind of strong person in possession, kind of hard to knock off the ball. But yeah, he's a little robust tank of a man, isn't he?
He is, and neither of us have picked him now. He was picked, and he got booted on match day, booted off the team on match day. But I think I found this actually very, very hard to do. And because as soon as I'd pick David De Gea, it obviously then rules out picking someone like Nemanja Matic, who's been absolutely superb this season for Man United. And I was like, well, I know who my right back is going to be Alexander Arnold. So I penciled him in, and then I was like, but then I can't pick Mo Salah up front.
Salah.
Yeah, Salah, yeah. And then I was thinking about left backs, and I was like, oh, well, Robertson's had a great career, but I can't put over a great season, but I can't put him in because I've got Mo Salah, and it was like, oh, God, it's a lot harder. And I'll be brutally honest.
For a Man United fan, you were really waxing lyrical over these Liverpool players, aren't you?
Man, they've been fantastic this season. I don't have a hatred of Liverpool. I just don't have it. I can understand why it's there in history, but I didn't grow up with that history. Since I've been...
Good question then. All right. The Champions League final in a few weeks' time, you'll be cheering on Liverpool?
I will be cheering on football. I would not...
Oh, what a cop-out.
Yeah, I would... It's harsh. If Madrid hadn't won the previous two, I'd probably want Madrid... Well, I don't know. There's just so... It would be great for an English team to win it. It's always great when an English team wins it, unless it's two English teams. Well, unless one of them's against Man United and then Man United lose, but... it's that's
yeah.
But I'd always like an English team to win it. But for a team to win it 3 times in a row would be absolutely incredible.
It would be. I mean, it was only a few years back when it was like, will a club ever retain it? And now they're going all out, and that's just it is amazing how they've just they haven't really played well. I mean, I don't want to boast, but they didn't beat us in the Champions League. I think it's the only side they haven't beaten in the Champions League this year. Is us, Spurs.
Well done,
Should have been.
Spurs. Yeah, brilliant. I mean, it didn't
Yeah,
get you
that's
any.
the real trophy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, so I assume then you're backing. You want Real Madrid to win it because then you can say, well, technically we're the best team in Europe.
Well, similar to you, if they hadn't won it a lot recently, I'd be like, yes, it'd be great to see them, partially because of my love affair with Gareth Bale and Luka Modric. I'd be like, oh yeah, very nice for them. But now they've won so much, I'm warming to the thought of Liverpool winning it because their attacking three is something to behold, and
It's
English players makes it more likeable. I mean, I watched an interview last night with Robertson. He seemed like a really top-notch lad and really kind of actually spoke quite well, and I thought that was good. And James Milner is actually quite likeable, so I am warming to them.
I just want to point out that it's very odd that about I think it was the first podcast we did where we both said we're very uneasy because we're going to say something's going to happen to make this Liverpool's year. And then as soon as they get to the final, we're both sort of changing our tune like, oh yeah, it would be good if they win it.
Yeah, glory hunters. We're going to cling on to that glory as our own. Yeah.
Get on those coattails, yeah. But anyway, back to the teams then. Back to the team. So...
Yes. Yeah, so we look at it by club then. So we start, if we go in alphabetical order, so looking at Arsenal, I was like, well, I can't, as much as he's coming to the end of his term, Wenger hasn't really lit up this season, so I was like, manager, no. Stadium, Emirates, I find lifeless.
Exactly.
Although nice, good capacity, I was like, no, I'm not having that.
No.
And then again, it was pretty difficult to pick from their players, do you not think?
I thought it was actually one of the easier ones for me to pick player-wise. Similar to you, I ruled out manager and stadium straight away. They were never in contention. And I thought, to be honest, who's actually consistently performed well for them, and the only name that came to my head was Nacho Monreal, and he came in at left back. So,
and I went for the other fullback, Bellerin, who's not had the best season, but I think he's one of the most marketable players they've got. He's young and he's into my system quite nicely. You know, up and down that wing, good pace. So yeah, that's why I went with Bellerin.
Yeah, nice. I've gone with Monreal again because of he's doesn't actually really push on that much in these days of flying wing backs, and with my non-defending front three, I'm pretty sure I need some defensive fullbacks.
All right, then next up we have Bournemouth. Oh, Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe was a contender for manager for me. I do like him. I actually think if he was to take a punter's next job, I think he'd be quite a good fit for someone like Everton. I think he plays good football, and I think Everton, Sam Adams isn't the right fit for them. And I thought he was a contender. Vitality Stadium, wow! I mean, I still struggle to believe that's Premier League stadium being 11,000 capacity or something like that. It's
incredible.
As much as I do like the old stadiums, I was like, no, my side with Kane up front, he can't be playing in front of 11,000.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree. Eddie Howe was in contention, but I thought I'd rather have one of their players out on pitch, to be honest, rather than the manager in the dugout. I'd rather have one of their players. I went for Nathan Ake at centre back, who I think's had a very, very good season for them. Go on.
I like him as well, and I mean, although he's not on loan, he's now transferred. What doing this made me realise is that Chelsea have actually got some very good players out on loan, and as I often considered a player, thought, oh yeah, I'll do him. I was like, hold on, he's on loan from Chelsea. So at Palace, I was like, oh, Loftus-Cheek, Chelsea. I was like, oh, Swansea, Tammy Abraham. Stoke, Kurt Zuma, Newcastle, Kennedy, Watford, Chalobah. I was like, blimey, man. It begs belief like why they sign players like Drinkwater and not Morata, but
I know what you mean. Yeah,
Giroud, because I think next season what's going to happen? It's going to be sold, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, it's something that always boggles my mind. We know that they've been stockpiling players for a year, but normally they've gone on loan to Holland, isn't it? I think Vitesse Arnhem, is it Vitesse Arnhem that their feeder club?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and now there seems to be a little bit of a change where these players are sort of like, well, I don't want to go there again. I want to get some proper experience in the Premier League because that's where I want to play. That's the clubs that I want to sign me. So, but yeah, I went for Nathan Ake from Bournemouth. Who did you go for?
I went for Adam Smith, former Spurs youth player, right back. Loves a goal from distance. Decent player, just won't upset. Can play on either flank, so I thought he's a good option. And again, had a decent season. I don't think anyone's Bournemouth's had an outstanding season. They've all kind of done okay. they blow very hot and cold. I don't.
Yeah.
I think if you're trying to bet, if you're going to bet on Bournemouth this season, I don't know what you're going to expect because they can win 3-0 one week and lose 3-0 the next. It's a bit of a oddity.
They're one of those teams. I think if Eddie Howe does go in the summer to somewhere, I think I could see Bournemouth really imploding, like losing that direction that they've had for years from Eddie Howe. I could see them really falling away by the wayside.
Similar to what Swansea had when they had a consistent approach from managers, and now they kind of lost it, and they're really kind of struggling to get their head above water.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's interesting. It is very interesting. There is a few players that in going forward for Bournemouth, I think will do them well. I think Lys Mousset, who's not played all that much, but when I have seen him play, has seemed to be one of those explosive strikers. He has that acceleration to get beyond people when a ball goes through. I quite like the look of him. I think they've got quite a young team, which is good for them.
Yeah, and they're getting a bit of pace. I mean, West Ham reject Junior Stanislas. Scored a couple of goals. Josh King as well. He's got that a little bit of turn of pace as well. Need to get past the man. They've both got quality on their day, but they just don't really seem to do it consistently, do they?
No, exactly. That's their problem. Like you say, they blow hot and cold, and it's very hard for them to keep that consistency. And I think that'll get even worse when Eddie Howe does go. I can't see him staying there forever. So
he did have a little stint at Burnley, then came back to it, didn't he? So maybe you go to Bournemouth, you don't go back. No, I don't know. Sorry about that.
But yeah, okay. So
next up was Brighton.
Brighton. Well, we both picked the same player.
Chris Hughton has done well.
Yeah, he has. Chris Hughton has done well. And I wouldn't pick the Amex as my stadium. That was pretty obvious.
I like Matt Ryan, the goalkeeper. Very good with his feet, and so that's a good performance this year. Centre backs, if you want an own goal, go for Duncan Duffy. A poor donut shop there.
I think Lewis Dunk in my eyes has had a very good season. I know he does score a few own goals, but I think he's been very good for him. He didn't obviously get in my team. He hasn't been that good, but yeah, he's done well. He's done well for him. Brighton they've done a lot better than anyone expected, and that's pretty much all you can say. They haven't.
I tell you what I've been disappointed by, because I didn't watch much Championship football. Still don't, unfortunately. Times at a premium, but I heard a lot about Andy Knockaert and so how good he was being, and he was head and shoulders above the rest of the Championship. But he's come up and he's not really set the world alight. Maybe it's a year of adaptation. Next year he's going to hit the ground running, but I've been a little bit disappointed. Yeah,
and that's sort of similar description of what you can say about all of their transfers as well. Like Izquierdo is hot and cold, flashes here and there, but not really performed that well. The striker is it Meunier? No, that's Huddersfield.
Del Poitre.
Del Poitre, yeah. It's just all a bit. Yeah, no one's really impressed. They broke their transfer fee for Izquierdo and then broke it again to sign Locadia from Ajax or PSV. And again, I've got the stats in front of me. He's made 4 appearances and 2 as a sub and scored 2 goals. Which, to be honest, 2 goals in 4 starts is a good ratio. But for a big money buy that big, it's not really good enough, is it?
Not at all. And it's tough. It's tough who you can attract. It's a difficult job for sides coming up. We'll see next year how sides do. It might be a bit different for Wolves, as we mentioned in the previous podcast. But yeah, it's just to stay in the league this year is all they can hope for, really, and they're on course to do it.
Before we move on to the next club, a big shout out. I've got to say it to Glenn Murray, superb this year.
You seem to like a bit of Glenn Murray. He's a natural goal scorer, isn't he?
He's terrible. He's absolutely terrible, but he puts the ball in the back of the net for Brighton. So, yeah, I just wanted to give him a shout out. He was in and among. He was the first name I had on the subs bench until I remembered that Pascal Gross is a good midfielder.
What an accolade! You're the first name on my subs bench.
Yeah. So, yeah, okay. But anyway, next up,
Burnley. My second club. My wife is from Lancashire. and I have a little bit of a soft spot for him. And Sean Dyche, the gravel-voiced manager, he's done all right. I think it's whether are the players limited or is he limited as a manager. I don't know. I think his next move is going to be see if he can kind of push on. I don't think he's going to he won't get a top 6 job next job, but he deserves a chance at a club with a bit more money.
Yeah, I think his next club will be similar to what happened to David Moyes when he jumped from Everton. Obviously, Everton to Man United was a big step, but totally out of his depth, and it showed that he was quite a restricted manager. And I think that might happen with Sean Dyche. I'm gutted that Sean Dyche won't get the Arsenal job. I'd love to see him at Arsenal. It'd be like completely different to Wenger.
Looking at the sides now and thinking about who will change managers in a year, so I think Chelsea will probably change manager, not going there. Everton sound like they're going to sit with Allardyce. Leicester may get pressurised to get PR because they've had a horrible run of form, depending on who gets relegated. Southampton might not be a Premier League side. Stoke, obviously, I think down. So probably stick with Carvey out. I think I'm thinking, you know what? West Ham job.
Yeah.
He go for a West Ham job.
He could, but haven't they said that they're keeping it with David Moyes and they're going to give Moyes even more power at the club, as in they were going to bring in a sporting director and then David Moyes was like, whoa, don't do that. And then they listened to him, suggesting they're going to keep David Moyes.
Yeah, I've read a book, the Nowhere Man, about scouts, and there's a big chapter on David Moyes, and it was in his Everton days and how detailed he was, and how Everton he was kind of like Wenger had at Arsenal. It was about total control. So I think I'd like to see Moyes be successful again, because he didn't really give himself a chance with his managerial choices after Everton. No. United destined to fail, Sociedad destined to fail, Sunderland destined to fail, and then trying to save West Ham from relegation, it's almost destined to fail. So a bit more time at West Ham, I think, will do him good.
Yeah, true. We've gone a bit of a tangent because you didn't actually say who you had picked from Burnley. I can remember it was Tarkowski, wasn't it?
Yes, the thunder-thighed Tarkowski.
Very nice. Interesting way to describe it.
It was a pick of the centre-backs, really. It was the defensive players that you're going to pick from Burnley. You're not going to pick, Vokes, Woods, Barnes, or anything like that. It's their centre-backs, and I think they're centre-backs who work well in a system. If you were to put one of his centre-backs into an expansive side, say a Liverpool or a Tottenham or one of the top sides, they'd get shown up.
Well, I think, because obviously I picked Ben Mee, because I think he's been slightly better than Tarkowski. I think they've both been very good. But what you're saying there about taking the centre-back and putting him into a more expansive team, you could argue that's exactly what's happened to Michael Keane, and it hasn't really worked out. When Koeman brought him in for Everton, they were going to play this free-flowing, expansive football, and it all sort of went tits up and sort of showed Michael Keane as a limited defender. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but he just didn't fit how Ronald Koeman wanted to play for Everton.
Yeah, very true.
So,
all right, we'll keep it brief with Chelsea because we all know about that. I picked Hazard.
Kante for me. It's all pretty obvious.
Kante, both world-class players. Could have had a pick of a bunch, really. Stamford Bridge is a stadium. It's surprisingly small, isn't it? And I think they're limited by the area, but it's one of my favourites.
It's a nice. I like how Stamford Bridge looks. I don't think. Yeah, it was never in contention for me, and I think that says enough, really. It was never in contention for me as a stadium. Antonio Conte was in contention as a manager because of his touchline antics.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because of his touchline antics, but they've got so many good players, I was always going to pick a player. So,
yeah. All right, next up was Crystal Palace. I think Roy Hodgson could be in contention for manager of the year. If we forget what it was, 007 at the start of the season, wasn't it?
It was,
with De Boer, and he's just completely turned it around. It was unfortunate that he was De Boer was out without Big Wolf Zaha, because that man is majestic. I love that player.
He's brilliant.
They got three. Their spine is some big players: Sacco, Loftus-Cheek, Zaha. They got some good young players there. Unfortunately, Loftus-Cheek not their player, but Zaha was a clear winner for me there.
Yeah, true. Zaha was my pick as well. Again, like I gave a shout out to Glenn Murray, I was very, very close to picking Milivojevic in centre midfield. I think he's so underrated as a defensive holding sort of midfielder. I really, really like him. And I was also really, really shocked to find out he's only 28. I assumed he was like 31.
Really?
Yeah, he's 28. He cost them like 12 million or something when they bought him. But yeah.
January signed by Big Sam. Tell you what I find just a strange thing that he takes their penalties, and I think it was Jednak before him took penalties. Both kind of defensive central midfielders taking penalties. It's not the done thing really, but they got two of them.
Yeah, it's not. And I will always remember when Christian Benteke took the penalty off Milivojevic and then missed.
Yes, and then at the weekend against Leicester, Milivojevic gave the penalty to Benteke to take because that man has scored about as many goals in the Premier League as me this season. He has been atrocious.
Yes, yeah, he has not been very good this season. Okay, so moving on after Crystal Palace,
Everton.
Alphabetically comes Everton, which was hard to choose.
This is really kind of a sad state of affairs. It's Allardyce, Big Sam.
Hell no.
100% record for England, and I think he's just upsetting more Everton fans by the day. Goodison Park, I like the old stadium, nice, good capacity. Not covered in the corners though, so that disgusts me. Your thoughts? No, you don't dislike that, like me.
No, Goodison Park is a very nice stadium. It's just in the current climate, it's a little bit old and
it's one of the renovated ones rather than a new build, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, rundown is not the correct words to use, but it does look a little bit rundown. But yeah, it was again. Big Sam, Goodison Park, neither of them were ever in contention, which left me with a real problem.
Yeah, they've got players on paper think, yeah, they'll do well, which I mean is what everybody thought at the start of the season. Like, God, yeah, what great transfer business they've done, and then it turns out you can't have a team of attacking midfielders unless you're Barcelona managed by Guardiola.
Yeah,
and
it's like
everybody's kind of flattered to deceive, really, haven't they?
Yeah.
I chose Pickford. He won. What was it? He won Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, and kind of was it Fans Player of the Year or Players Player of the Year?
Yeah,
all of them, all the awards.
Yeah, all the awards. Interesting. I didn't realise. I've got stats are in front of me. Jordan Pickford has played 44 games this season. That's a lot of games. That's a lot of games.
It's a lot of games because I didn't realise they'd gone far enough in a cup to warrant.
Well, yeah.
8 more games because they're only at 36 games, aren't
they? Yeah. According to the stats in front of me, I've got Pickford's played 44, Stecklenburg's played 3, and Joel Robles, has played 2.
Well, it is, yeah.
So that's a total of 49 games. So, yeah, I don't know. Were they in Europe? Were they in early Europe? Surely not. Anyway.
That's showing our failings there.
Yeah, I went for John Joe Kenny because A, I couldn't think of any right backs that have impressed me this season, and B, I needed an Everton player, so it was sort of by default.
C, you thought you'd choose a player who sounds most like they'd live in a caravan.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But again, looking at the stats, he has played 25 games this season, which is the most out of any possible right back for Everton. That's a lie. I can't even read stats right because Cuco Martina plays there, doesn't he?
Oh, he's been playing left back for him because Baines has been out injured. So
there you go then.
I mean, he's a championship standard right back, let alone left back. Sorry, Everton, that's got to be a horrible situation to be in.
Yeah, but So I think should we just brush over Everton because we both sort of.
Yeah, I mean,
you've got.
We're going next up. We've got Huddersfield, and it's been. Oh, they can't score goals. I think they've not scored in something like 19 matches this season. It's just been
incredible.
Scraping by, and I'm not sure they're going to actually see it through. I think it may just end up all a little bit of tears for them.
Really? You reckon they're going down?
Yeah, I think so. I think it cruel twist of fate. They got would have played some big games. They have a habit of not turning up in some games. So. Yeah, I fear for them. I chose Mr. Mui.
Yeah,
So
Aaron
he had a
Moy.
good start to the season.
Yeah, solid.
It was for Manchester City's Australian partner, wasn't it?
Yeah, he
Last year.
went. I think didn't it actually Man City actually bought him and then sent him to Australia and then they bought him for the
Yeah, I think there was definitely a
Melbourne
time.
City.
Yeah.
Melbourne City, I think it is. That is their feeder club out in Australia, and then Huddersfield bought him, and I think he's been very, very good. Little baldy in centre midfield. He's looked pretty handy. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a bigger club snapped him up if they did go down.
Since January, I've been quite impressed with another former Spurs youth player, Mr. Alex Pritchard. He can play in the hole and has turned in some good performances of him. So he was in consideration, but he couldn't quite make the cut.
Yeah, well, I went for Schindler at the back. So I think, although they have
made your list.
quite a few goals, he's the last sub. So he's not got too much to write home about as Christopher Schindler, but yeah, I think he's done very well for them, to be honest, for a team that's struggling.
Yeah, he's been a bit of a linchpin for him. So
yeah, I was happy with that choice. Next up, we have
Leicester City.
So, manager.
Chose the manager, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. I did choose the manager. So I went with Claude Puel because I think he's underrated. And well, the rumours that are circulating is that he comes in and he's very good when he first comes in and gets people working hard, and then everybody gets pissed off because they're working hard. That's the rumours that I've read in the paper. But
the form table doesn't lie. I mean, Leicester have been in poor form the last 6-7 games, haven't they? So unfortunately, that's happened at the end of the season, so it might linger quite a lot in people's minds. If it was in mid-season blip and you recover either side, and then you might be forgivable. But I think you got to keep them, because Leicester have gone through a few too many managers now. They've got some decent players, and they just need to keep a bit of consistency. So I wouldn't twist if I was them.
I'd agree. I would 100% agree. So yeah, I went for Claude Puel. I wouldn't pick. I was going to say the Walkers Stadium, but that is really old school.
Power.
Yeah, what is it now? King Power.
King Power.
Power, yeah.
And I picked Ndidi as the defensive midfielder. He's a bit of a beast. Stepped in well after N'Golo Kante went, but I could have picked a couple of players. You could have picked the massive-headed centre-back. Who is it? Who am I thinking of? Harry Maguire, yes.
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
Or the sulking Riyad Mahrez, or the Lucozade drinking, probably fag smoking Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, very true. I think all three of those are in for a shout. I was also considering Ben Chilwell at left back. I think he's had a pretty decent season when he's played. Again, probably not played too many or enough. You could go for the incredibly reckless right wing / right back Mark Albrighton.
I don't like that man.
No, neither do I. I think he's absolutely terrible.
Sent off at the weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Bless him. Bless his little cotton socks. Right, next up then, that's Leicester done. Liverpool.
And now we're at Liverpool. I mean, Anfield, could have picked Anfield. I tell you what surprised me about Anfield, because it was this season, was it? Or last season? They went through renovation and they couldn't play at home for the first few games.
Yeah, last season.
And do you know what's blowing my mind is that when it was renovating, they had the first match on TV, the camera position changed.
Yeah.
And it make it look like a completely new stadium. I was like, this is blowing my mind. It's just moving the camera. I just can't work it out.
It was, like if you're playing FIFA and you've got a mate who comes around and he's like, oh, I can't play on this camera. We need to elevate it higher
wide,
to see more of the pitch, or wide, yeah. And then you come back to play it the next day and you forgot that's happened. And you're like, what the bloody hell's happening to my FIFA? What's going on?
I'm a zoomed out man. I need to see all the pitch. I need to see where I can switch that play to. That's me.
Oh, bloody hell. Anyway, going back to the players.
Yes. Take your pick. They've had a good season.
Exactly.
You can pick almost anyone, really.
Well, you could pick any one of those front three, and you could probably pick three of the back four, I'd argue. Robertson, Van Dijk and Trent Alexander-Arnold. All been superb.
Any other centre-back you're not doing. And I also thought you could probably go for Milner, but more of his Champions League form, I suppose. And then the Ox actually surprised me. Came in and did pretty well, because
I agree.
I always thought he was very under kind kind of underwhelming at Arsenal, but he's been very good.
He was just at Arsenal. He was just never used correctly, and I think that's what Jurgen Klopp's kind of sorted out. Is that
and it was surprising because when he was signed for Ox, like, he wants to play centre mid, as if he's going to get into that midfield. Because at the time it was like, you know, you got your Lallana's, your Coutinho was there at the time, and Henderson,
Wijnaldum,
Milner, Wijnaldum. And it's like he's never going to get to play, but no, when his rasper against Man City was probably his highlight. But he's been
that
good.
was lovely stuff. But so you ended up going for Van Dijk, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, the man's a beast. I'd have loved him at Spurs.
Would you say he's transformed that defence?
It's incredible. It really is. It just shows how one player can make a real difference, doesn't it? And I mean, he can't cover all of Lovren's mistakes, but he sure as hell try.
Yeah, very true, very true. And obviously, I went for the 40-goal a season man, Mo Salah, and I don't really need to talk about him, do we? I think it's pretty obvious.
It says for himself. Next up is Manchester City.
Yeah.
And again, this is whoever you wanted from this. You could have used this one last and just filled whatever gap, because every position's got a quality player in it, really.
Yeah. I found it really hard to not pick Leroy Sané, and it's literally just because Kevin De Bruyne is Kevin De Bruyne.
He is, and he amazed me every time I watch him, because I liked him when he was originally at Chelsea and a little bit of his time in Germany. But you watch him now, he's just phenomenal. I don't think, because there's nothing that flash about him, you think, he can be alright. But he's just so many things perfectly. He's so strong on the ball. You don't expect it. Two-footed. One of the few players who actually can cross a ball in the world of football.
Yeah. The strength is the thing that surprises me. Whenever I see him hold off a challenge and hold off a tackle and things like that, I'm just like, he's a weedy little kid. He shouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
But absolutely incredible. Really, really good. And a player we both agreed on that should sit in there. Where are you playing him? Let's get a bit tactical. Where are you playing him?
Oh, my centre midfield is somewhat weak, so I've only got Ndidi there, and De Bruyne is next to him. So similar to his Manchester City role, kind of sitting a little bit deeper and kind of linking it all together. So he will have to do a little bit of defensive work, but
he can do it.
He's linking all the ball together. Yeah, he can do that. He's got that ability. You?
He's playing in. So I've got Kante sitting just behind him and Pascal Gross. So I would suggest that in my tactical team talk, Kevin De Bruyne with the person, I would give a sort of license to free roam and do what he wants, and Pascal Gross to just make sure he's covering where Kevin De Bruyne isn't. So
that sounds fair.
Yeah, that's how I would play my midfield three. Next, again, pretty one that plays for itself, doesn't it? Man United, David De Gea.
Yep, and I chose him as well. I just want a quick mention of Old Trafford. I would never choose a stadium. I think it's the ugliest stadium in the Premier League.
You absolute knobhead.
It is just a mutant of a stadium. It's just, look, we'll add a bit more on it. It looks horrific.
It's not the ugliest in the Premier League. Give me a couple of minutes and I'll think of an uglier one.
Okay. All right. But I would never pick that. Not for me. Not for me. And Mourinho, I wouldn't pick him either. I want my players to be happy and play flamboyant attacking football. That's why I chose Rafa Benitez.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick Mourinho as my manager. I think we covered this in a previous podcast. I don't really want him there at the moment anyway. And an uglier stadium than Old Trafford is White Hart Lane, because it's currently a derelict site. So.
It's got a beauty of a new stadium being built on top.
I know. Yeah, it does look good. It does look good. I'm struggling to think of a uglier stadium. Crystal Palace, Selhurst Park isn't very nice. I've been there.
Yeah.
It looks pretty horrendous from the outside.
It does, and Vicarage Road, I'd probably say, is probably one of the bleakest stadiums I've been to. It's got a whole feel of conference side stadium. It was, when I went there, especially, it was just it wasn't somewhere you wanted to stay.
Bloody hell. Okay then. So next up, after we've just derided a few stadiums there and just pissed a few more people off listening to the podcast, On to Newcastle.
Newcastle, yeah. I chose Rafa here because he is the only reason for me that Newcastle are not getting relegated again. He has done so much better with that side than they should have done. I bet Mike Ashley is laughing all the way to the bank because he can actually sell his club if he ever wants to, and because Rafa Benitez has added millions to the value of it.
Yeah, totally agree. I think a team or a manager that has a starting strike force of Dwight Gale and Iosi Perez and has Mo Diarmi playing in midfield for them to keep them in the Premier League is incredible.
Absolutely. You're asking for trouble. And the only other players I thought maybe could do something, I mentioned Kennedy earlier. He was a breath of fresh air, did something that no other player was doing for them. He's some lovely driving runs down the left. John Joe Shelby, we mentioned for him. I mean, I find him infuriatingly bad at tracking back. You can watch highlights of him just standing there, almost kind of transfixed. I don't even know what he's looking at, but he just kind of stood there doing nothing. That man camping across field ball. And the other player I was going to consider was Jamal Lascelles because he is their linchpin at the back.
Have you heard their stat about Jamal Lascelles, which is ridiculous? It's something like out of all the... Because he had that period in injury and Newcastle didn't win any games, and it's something like he's only lost 2 games or something for Newcastle as captain.
Very impressive.
It's something like that. I'm probably getting it slightly wrong and someone will correct me in the comments, but...
It's
the percentage of wins with him without him is absolutely ludicrous. I obviously don't have a player because I picked St James's Park, and I think even in the dark days when they got relegated and it was all going wrong, the fans were still there, still shouting, still supporting. Even with the Mike Ashley thing, they're still they'll vent at Ashley, and when they had the Cockney takeover or whatever it was with Ashley and Dennis Wise and people like that. But they still actually supported the team at the same time. So, yeah, I had to pick St James's Park. It was probably one of the first things that I actually wrote down. So, yeah.
Nice. Next up, we're going down to the south coast. Probably one of the largest differences in mileage between two clubs, I'd say.
Yeah.
We're at St Mary's, which is my stadium.
Really reasons?
Use it, but...
Is it just default?
It's quite a nice stadium, reasonable fans, but none of the players have stood out this year, have they? There's a reason they're down there because they've all been much. They've got some players you think might be able to do better at bigger clubs. McCarthy's come in, done a lot better than Fraser Forster because he actually moves a little bit.
Yeah.
In midfield, the midfielders, I think. I don't mind Romeo, Lamina, Højbjerg, Tadic, Boufal. They're all players you think, they could do something, but together they've not really done much. But the main problem is they haven't scored enough goals, and so that's why I was never considering any of their strike force.
Yeah, so my one of their players has made my bench, and it's more because of I'm excited about what he could possibly do in the future, and the fact that when I've bought him on Football Manager, he's really good. And like you say, their whole club or squad sort of smells of I don't really want to pick anyone. So I went for James Ward-Prowse. He's
got good delivery on him, hasn't he?
Great delivery, yeah.
But he just doesn't contribute enough. He's scored a couple of goals this season, but he just I don't know what he really brings. He's just a tidy player, but he's got good delivery, so you kind of want to put him out wide, but he hasn't got any attributes to play out wide. He's not defensively strong to play in the middle. I just don't really think at this level, I'm not sure he's going to make the impact that you'd want from a starting midfielder. Yeah,
no, that's totally fair, but I had to pick someone. So default.
Next up, we have Stoke City.
Yes.
I went for big Kurt Zouma. I was a little bit surprised when they loaned him out. Chelsea loaned him out this year, but he had a big knee injury last year, so I can understand him wanting to get some game time, but I'll be interested to see what happens when he goes back to Chelsea.
I don't think
they've got enough centre backs to go around.
Yeah, they'll sell him. I think they'll sell him. I don't think he's been all that good this year, to be honest. I don't think he has. I think he's been okay.
Had Mo Salah in his pocket the other weekend.
Well, yeah, but that's just a blip. That's just a blip. I just think it's one of those teams. Stoke have been so bad this season that it's really hard to pick anyone out of it. Shaqiri, is obviously their star player outfield. Very good, very talented. But yeah, he got kicked out at the last minute in my team for Jack Butland because I needed a goalkeeper on the bench.
Yeah, I think we'll see a few Stoke players get bought and stay in top leagues. Joe Allen may do that.
Yeah, Shaqiri, Butland, Zuma will probably stay in the
Butland,
Premiership.
Butland for sure. Be interested to see where Butland goes because he's obviously got his future England career to kind of think of. Will he be number one? I don't know, but yeah, he needs to sign for a club which aren't going to get relegated next year.
Exactly, that's exactly what he needs to do. So Swansea.
Oof, this was bleak as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. I think we've both gone on the decide. Well, we've both picked a player because of what he could possibly be in the future.
Yeah, I like him. I really do like him, and maybe he could have done with another year in a championship or play for a side which actually played towards a striker a bit more. They were is a little bit hamstrung by Swansea's absence, but he's got some talent, that boy.
Yeah, he is good. Sorry about that. I've just dropped a pen. That would have made a really loud noise. Apologies. He's. Do you know what? I was so excited to see him in the Premier League, and I'm so disappointed that it hasn't worked out. I mean, what's he got? Yeah. I'm just looking at the stats now. Eight goals in 21 starts and 14 sub appearances. It's not brilliant.
For Swansea, it's not too bad. I mean, I think if he has another loan, he needs to really consider who's going to, and make sure that the whole situation is right. I mean, it's difficult to do because there's the cutthroat nature of Premier League football is that the manager could change within a matter of days after signing. But
yeah,
he needs to be able to showcase his talents properly if he wants to make it for Chelsea or a top side.
Agree. Anybody else from Swansea that's possibly had even a flicker of a thought in your head?
I quite like Alfie Mawson.
Yeah, that's the only one I had as well that was a possible inclusion in the team, but yeah, not good enough. He needs to move to a bigger team, I think, to really become the player that he could be. But it's only his first season, I think, in the Premier League. Yeah, he's done well. Yeah, are they going down? Are Swansea going down?
Yeah, they are really, as much as how well Carvalhal did to begin with. They are perilously close.
Yeah, they are.
Out of it by any means.
And I think their game in hand is against Southampton, if I remember rightly.
Yes, it is. It's a real 6 pointer, that one.
Yeah, so that'll be very interesting. And then we move on to your beloved Spurs, I think, is next, isn't it? If I've got my alphabet right.
It is, yeah. I'd feel bad about picking this stadium, so I didn't. I don't mind Wembley. It's been nice to get a bit of game time there. Can't wait to be back at a place you call home. Pochettino, could have picked him. Love the man. Has his limitations, but has done so well for us. I think we're ahead of where we expected to be.
Yeah,
where
agreed.
I expected us to be at least.
Agreed.
And then player-wise, you could take your pick.
Well, I don't think you can quite take your pick. I don't think everyone's been brilliant. I think
attacking-wise, I think you take any of the attacking four. You could probably pick. Lloris has had one of his poorer seasons. Centre-backs, you could probably pick a couple, and then defensively, full-backs and defensive midfield has been a bit less to right home about.
Yeah, I think Dembele. Well, we've discussed Dembele previously. He's had a good season again. He's been like that sort of metronome player, hasn't he? He's been good every single season you've had him, really. Like you say, front four: Kane, Ali, Heung-min Son, and Eriksen. Yeah, take your pick. I wouldn't pick Ali, but the other three, yeah. And we both went for Harry Kane because of goals. He scores goals, and that's what you need. So I think, yeah, it was hard because I really like Christian Eriksen, and I really wanted to get him in this team. And then I sort of like, well, if I do that, then I won't be able to pick Harry Kane, and that was literally my logic. So I picked Harry Kane. Yeah. Okay, next up.
We have Watford.
Ugh.
Watford. I mean, right. Watford are just such a kind of homogenous club. They have insert foreign manager here for 6 months.
Yep.
They have, and they'll get sacked obviously because that's what they do every kind of 6 months. They'll have a good start. They'll have a good period of season. Probably by about 2/3 way through, be safe and then give up. And
Yeah. Exactly. Buy a couple of players from Granada. Send up a couple of players to Granada. Job done.
I mean, he had some good performances. Like Doucouré had a good start to the season. Richarlison had a decent start to the season. But overall, they're contending for any awards or top of any stats list this season.
So, who did you go for?
I chose Kabasele at centre back. He's had an alright season.
Wouldn't have pictured that. Kabasele, not for me, thank you.
Oh, and it was kind of to avoid. I mean, I'm a big Yunus Kabul fan. I liked him at Spurs, and a nice character. But I think he spent the most time out injured out of any player this season. So, Kabasele was the replacement in that sense.
Yeah, fair enough. I went for Pereira behind. Well, he's on the bench, and he probably won't come off the bench. But yeah, I just went for Pereira. I think I quite like. He fits and starts, but when he's on form, he started the season really well and showed some good skill, and he's just getting into that form again now. Shout out to Doucouré. I think he's been very good for them. Be very surprised if they keep hold of him. If a big club comes in for Doucouré, that would be expected in my eyes. Someone I want to point out that I've been quite disappointed with at Watford since he signed is Gerard Deulofeu. I was expecting a lot more.
I think that man, he's disappointment to disappointment, really. I think he's one of the most technically dribblers of the ball, but similar to kind of another Barcelona somewhat reject, Adama Traore. He's done a bit better in the Championship this season, but they've got a lot of talent, both of them, especially in the dribbling department. They don't seem to have the mentality to have that end product, and it's just a little bit unfortunate. I mean, he started well. Deulofeu got injured, but yeah, he could be a player with the right kind of coaching. But yeah, he's someone you'd always kind of is going to live off. I think his career's going to live off hope rather than actual delivery.
Definitely. Right, so coming to the end of the list now. West Brom.
Wow. Aaron Moore, manager.
Done very well, but not enough experience for me.
Hawthorn's old stadium does seem quite nice, but it's a fashionable club, isn't it? West Brom. It's not someone. It's not a shirt that anyone would buy if they're not a fan. It's not something like, oh, this is a sexy little shirt. You're not going to buy that, and no one's going to travel to a stadium because this is a cracking stadium. It's a bit of a family club for me. Player-wise, always pride themselves on a decent defence.
Yeah, apart from when Alan Pardew was the manager.
It's Alan Pardew. He's horrific. I like Matt Phillips on the wing. Rondon somehow. I think Rondon was a bid for him. Was it last summer or January in
China.
The 30s, in the 30 odd million?
Yeah,
China.
32 million from China, I think it was. Yeah, ludicrous.
And now I think he's got a relegation release clause of something like 8 million. So
like similar to the whole the Johnny Evans situation. Arsenal bid 16 and then they said no, and now he can leave for like 4 million when they get relegated.
Yeah, and that's because you're banking on staying up, aren't you? But unfortunately, it's not turned out the way that they wanted. But the interesting thing to me is how many West Brom players will be signed by Burnley this summer, because if there's ever a club which should be a feeder club to the other now, Craig Dawson. Maybe Jay Rodriguez. They're just Evans. They're just reek of Sean Dyche type players. These honest British professionals.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that. You picked Rondon, yeah?
Yeah, I picked Rondon. Yeah, he's a decent target man. Holds up the ball well, and a really decent bloke. Who was it earlier this season who suffered a bad injury and he saw it?
Oh yeah. Who was that? I can't remember who it was, but I remember the game, and he just stopped and basically called the physios on, and I can remember the game, but I can't remember who it was against.
And I remember there was another game of the season where someone went for a header and they were falling over because they rode his back and they were going to fall and land badly. He caught them. He seems like a really decent chap.
Yeah, he does.
So yeah.
I went for J Rodriguez on the bench because he's at a bit of form. I quite like his hair. I mean, what more reason do you need to get into a Dave Nichols cultured left foot team?
So last up we have
West Ham. I mean, one standout player.
He's been the player that I think, like say Delafeu's living of hope. Arnautovic kind of had that, but I've been so impressed with him like the last few months of the season. He has been.
I was talking about Mark Noble. What are you on about? Yeah, obviously Arnautovic. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of. There was a game this season where it was just the two of them wreaking havoc. Lanzini and Arnautovic kind of just as a front two.
Yeah.
Tore apart. I think it was against Huddersfield maybe, and they've been cracking the season. But I didn't actually pick either of those players. I picked failed left back turned into a kind of left winger, Masuaku, because his dribbling ability was off the charts. I love a dribble, as we spoke about in a previous pod. I love a dribbler, and he was just so skillful. Tore it up. Loved it.
I mean, I went for Arnautovic, but I really, really like Lanzini. I really like him. It just seems to have that sort of arrogant Argentinian swagger when he's on the ball, and I really like it. I also really like Aaron Creswell, but can't really justify picking a West Ham defender this season. Big
Pat or little Pat, Evra.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick Patrice Evra. Interesting fact for the listeners and for you, Josh, in the podcast this week. I'll give a little fact. Every game that Patrice Evra has started for West Ham in the Premier League, they've ended up losing 4-1. So...
I remember when they played, I think they played against Liverpool and Man City, they've started with Zabaleta and Patrice Evra at fullback. It's like,
why?
What are you asking to get destroyed down the flanks? Because that is a slow fullback.
Yeah, that is just suicide in the terms of defending against teams like that. But well, there we go. All 20 teams covered.
One last point I wanted to quickly make. Did you not consider the London Stadium as your stadium of choice?
The London Stadium? No, I did not. Although, very, very safe for a director's box, as we found out against Burnley. There's a long way away between you and the fans if you're pissing off the fans. So
there's a long way between the fans and the pitch as well. It's horrific.
Yeah, I don't like it. Not a fan. Wasn't a fan of them really leaving Upton Park or the Boleyn Ground, whatever you want to call it. But you know, I guess it makes monetary sense. So that's why they've done it. But yeah, disappointing.
Football's a business.
Yeah, football's a business. Disappointing decision for them to go there. But that is all 20 teams used in the Premier League in one way or another. So I'm going to put on screen now our two teams next to each other. We want to hear from you guys. Which one do you think would win? Including, imagine both teams playing at home and having the atmosphere with the stadium and how the different managers would make it play. But yeah, it would be very interesting to know which one you think. And then also, if you want to do it, write down your team of the season using same rules. So one player per team. You've got to have a manager and a stadium from one team as well. And it'll be very interesting to hear, because what do you think, Josh? Do you think your team would beat mine?
I don't think there's a weakness in my side. I think defensively, beast strong. I mean, they're all 6 foot plus. Zuma, Tarkowski, Van Dijk, they're heading away anything you've got. Kane's not going to stand a chance against those.
Yeah.
Down the wings, you've got Bellerin and Masuaku bombing up and down, pace galore. You've got Ndidi holding the fort, De Bruyne pulling the strings, Hazard and Zaha are just beating their fullbacks, your fullbacks especially, and then Kane is absolutely mopping everything up. Where are you beating that side?
I think it's similar to yours, is that my front three, Salah, Kane and Zaha, all your guys are, over 6 foot, high centre of gravity. I've got the nimble feet, the quick movement, De Bruyne picking passes, Pascal Gross, most assists outside the top 6 teams. I've got people that can pick passes, and then I've got the man mountain, who isn't actually a mountain, N'Golo Kante, mopping up absolutely everything in front of the back four. Ben Mee, solid, no nonsense. Nathan Ake, bit small, but he'll be all the covering. John Joe Kenny, default, he'll probably get subbed off straight away, and I'd put another striker on. And Monreal, deadly from corners. So, I mean, put it this way.
You're putting up a brave front here, Dave, but your back four is horrific.
I know. I'm looking at it thinking, how have I ended up with that back four? Oh, my word.
The challenge for the listeners to maybe just tweak Dave slightly so his defence isn't so championship.
Yeah, it's pretty championship. Yeah. The only thing I would say is that David De Gea in both teams would probably be quite busy. I think he would be quite busy.
Yes.
Interesting question for you. Who's your on the pitch captain?
Oh, nice one. Okay, right. So who have I got as captains? I have got Kane's captain. I don't know. So I might go for big Virgil van Dijk, I think.
Nice. I love a centre-back captain. Being a centre-back and a captain myself, that's why I love it. But I'm not giving it to Ben Mee or Nathan Aké, shockingly. I think my captain would be it would be a pick of two. It would be Harry Kane or David De Gea would be my captains. I'd probably go David De Gea. You can see the whole pitch.
Yeah, I find it quite honourable being a goalkeeper and a captain. When Spurs played Juventus, I did quite like the fact there was Lloris and Buffon going. It seemed classy having a goalkeeper as a captain.
Yeah, it does. I think it does. But I think we're going to wrap it up there, I think that's, unless you've got any other points you'd like to make for the end of the season.
No, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a difficult task. It's a juggling act because obviously you can only use one person from each club. So you might think you got it sorted and you're left with choosing someone from a striker from Huddersfield or something. But no, it's a very enjoyable. So give it a go. Yeah,
definitely give it a go because you can pick your team and then end up with John Joe Kenny at right back. So you can't do much worse than that. But I think we shall leave it there, and we'll be hopefully back once I've got my system set up in Singapore and Josh is back from Italy. But there's only one thing left to say, and that is goodbye from me.
Bye from me.
Goodbye from Josh. But for now, we're out. Cheers.